Welcome to the Rockstar Principles Podcast, coming straight to you from Rock and Roll, USA, covering the latest and greatest in educational leadership trends, news, and awesomeness for principals all over the world. Now, here are your hosts, the boss, John Ross, and the Doctor of Proctors, Nick Indeglio.
Welcome back, my friends. We return for the Church of Whitaker. I'm getting good at that. I'm learning from you.
Yeah, I don't even feel the need to put my own in there anymore. You gotta get it down.
I'm gonna do the whole thing in Gregorian chant. We are now at number 17 of the 18 things that great principals do differently. Sorry, I had to go with the regular voice, otherwise people will just completely skip over this entire segment. But yes, we are number 17 of the 18 things great principals do differently. And number 17 is great principals take steps to improve or remove negative and ineffective staff members. This one should almost go without saying, but as the leader, it is incumbent upon you to do whatever is necessary to help improve first and foremost, to do whatever you can to help improve negative or ineffective individuals. But if it gets to the point that they have to be removed, then you have to find a way for them to be removed. And let me start off by saying perhaps the greatest lie in American education right now is that teachers cannot be fired.
Hogwash.
That is complete and total hogwash. Complete and total. And it does a disservice. It does a disservice to our profession when people spread that lie. Because it's difficult, yes. It takes a heck of a lot of work, yes. But it is not impossible to do that.
And not only is it not impossible, John, I'm going to take it a step further because we've been doing our best to be as honest as we can be through the course of all the podcasts that we do. And there have been a couple podcasts where we've been critical of unions and associations for some of the things that they negatively contribute in our opinions.
Right.
But let me say this. Having been in a multitude of different districts throughout my 15 years in the business, I've been impressed genuinely by the leadership in the associations that I've worked with that have recognized when we've gotten to the point where these teachers need to either be counseled out or fired, and have been invaluable in the process to making that happen. In fact, sometimes they're able to be more effective at getting things to happen and move more quickly than we are.
I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, in every situation that I have been in that involved a union, that involved somebody who was negative or ineffective, and we were working either on an improvement plan or, we were working toward counseling them to leave, the union has been there to support both the teacher, but moreover, the children.
Yes.
And that's the bottom line with this. And that's the important point to drive home with all of this, is that the children only get one chance to do each grade, in a sense, and all of the research talks about how many years it takes to make up for 1 year of poor teaching, how it takes the ripple effects, the shock waves that go down the rest of an educational career of a child if they spend 1 year with an ineffective or negative person. So that's all you have to think about, is think about the children that you're responsible for on a daily basis, and how if you expose them to a negative or ineffective person over the course of a year that you ignore or that you do nothing to try to improve or remove that person, then you are in effect ruining the education of that child for subsequent years, because it's going to take a number of years afterward in order for that child to recover.
And let's talk about that process now. When we get to the point where we have unsatisfactory teachers who aren't making improvements, and then we're at the point of either counseling out and or going through the removal process. Yes, it is negative. Yes, it is uncomfortable. Yes, it is difficult. But it's not always adversarial.
No.
And it's not always the type of thing where there's yelling and screaming going on. In fact, the majority of teachers that that I've been involved in the counseling out and or removal process, it's ended with thank yous and hugs and farewells that are legitimate and sincere.
I think it goes back to the previous, what was it, number 16, where we talked about the way to be professional and how not to take things personally and not allow things to go down a personal road. That, if you approach things in a professional manner, and if you come from the angle as a principal, if the first words out of your mouth are, I hope you understand what I am doing, I feel is in the best interest of the children, then how can anybody argue with what you're trying to do? Do you know what I mean? Unless you're way off base,
right.
I don't know how they can shoot you down. If you're trying to make the point that, look, here, obviously when you get to that point, you're going to have a series of things to bring up with the individual that you're going to want to say. And if they involve children and the education of children, you're going to make the point. You're building that case. This all comes back to, rule number 1 in terms of HR is document, document, document. That's rule 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Document everything. And now in this age of emails and, the digital storage ability of emails and the capabilities as leaders of, keeping parent emails and documenting conversations and all of that. That's just all things that you need to do in order to build a case for improvement. I'm not saying build a case for dismissal. I'm talking about building a case for improvement. And you approach this person just in that manner. I want to help you. I want to help you improve as an educator. And I don't know how they can argue with that. I mean, unless they have complete blinders on, in which case, as Nick was saying, and my experience is the same, the union, the association, it becomes incumbent upon them to say, you know what, they've got a point here. The administration has a point here. You need to recognize that these things are not good and that they're trying to help you. It's not a witch hunt. There's no one out to get you here. They're trying to help you improve. They're not trying to force you out the door. In the early stages now I'm talking about.
And there's a negative connotation to the word witch hunt purposely because of, the Salem witch, the whole bit. And that's why it is that. But let's call a spade a spade. Let's say the person turns out to be a real witch. Well, guess what? A witch hunt is going to take place because it has to.
All I can think of is the Monty Python segment. I'm sorry right now. She's a witch! I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
I needed to break the tension there anyway because we were both getting very passionate about this discussion. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes a witch is a witch.
And in the end, you talked about the damage and how it's almost irreparable. I look at it this way as well, and I just flip it on its side a little bit. I take my very best teacher and realize the impact they can have and how much achievement and growth can occur in 1 year's time as a result of my best teacher. When I think and my heart fills with admiration and pride at that great work that was done and what that teacher was able to do with those kids, when I think of the exact 180 of that and the opposite, I should be fired up.
Right.
We as principals, now, I'm not saying fired up taking it personally. I'm saying I'm willing to take the time it's going to take.
Absolutely.
I'm willing to put the documentation in to cross every T, to dot every I, because it's that important.
Yeah. And and you say that about the great teachers and what the great teachers do and the ripple effects and how great that makes you feel, that feeling. You know what's also an awesome feeling? When you help these people grow.
Yeah.
When you take somebody and you have them in a position where there's an identifiable gap, there's this area that they need improvement, and you give them the support and you approach it in a professional manner and you give them the professional development that they need and you give them books to read, articles to read, whatever, and you go through all that and it's painful and it's difficult and it takes time, yes. But man, the rewards at the end, when you actually see that person grow in that area, when you're able to actually see the person using the things that you've given them, using the tools that you've given them, God, that's so awesome. That's just such a great feeling to know that you've made a win-win out of this. You've made it a win for the kids and a win for the professional. And that's just the tops, baby. It doesn't get any better than that.
No.
You're the tops, baby.
No. And for people who ask the question, or tell us, because this is one of those things too. And teachers, if you're listening, think about this before you say it to your principal the next time. When you walk into the office and say, I never would want to be a principal. I would never want to be away from the kids. It's kind of a backwards compliment. It's an insult, really, when you think about it, because it almost insinuates that we don't want to be with kids. But what Jon just said there, the ripple effects that is going to have on more children than we could ever impact on our own in a classroom setting, those are the intangibles, the things that we do this for, and you don't get it paid back very often. But when you do, it goes a long way.
Now, I don't want to end on a negative, but I'm going to get negative here for a second because we have to address the second part of that. And that is the dismissal of people. It said improve or remove. So now let's talk about the remove, because that is an extremely difficult process as well, but it has to happen by whatever means necessary under the law, whatever you have to do. And one of the things we learned in restorative practice training, I don't know if we talked about restorative practices on the podcast.
We haven't done.
I think we should at some point talk about the training that we've gone through. But again, restorative practices, we could do a whole segment on that. But the one trainer used an expression: "There's no easy way to poke someone in the eye."
I like that.
And there's not, but sometimes you need to.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes that in order to get somebody's attention, you need to poke them in the eye, metaphorically speaking, unless you're doing Three Stooges routine. But there's no easy way to do it. And sometimes once you've tried, once you've done your due diligence to do all of the, means to help someone improve, you get to the part about remove. There's no easy way to do it, but it's got to be done.
Got to be done.
Whatever within your power to do it too. Whatever you can do within your power. And there's ways to, to get people removed. So don't listen to the hype or don't believe the lie that it's impossible to get somebody fired once they have tenure.
And let's keep it simple. When it gets to that point, all you have to do is focus on two things: measurable and observable. Because in that improvement plan, in the very beginning, we're going to identify very specifically, these are the deficiencies. Here is how we're going to measure improvement. Here are the observable behaviors we're going to use to measure improvement. And if there's no improvement, then if you don't see the poke in the eye coming, then that's on you at that point.
Right.
Fool me
and
once.
The union will see it. The association will see it. You will have done everything you need to do to document and include them in on everything along the way. And I have actually, as an assistant principal, have actually seen a union essentially say that to a professional. That, look, they've done everything they need to do. Our next step here is for me to help you talk about counseling out of the profession or out of this particular job. Do you want to resign your position now so you can go and try to find a job in another school district? Or do you want to let it get to the point where they're going to fire you and then it's going to be next to impossible for you to get a job in another district? And 9 times out of 10, the person's going to do the resign. So there you have it. There you have it. Once again, props to PSEA, at least. I don't know if I'll give props to NEA, but the Pennsylvania State Education Association, in my experience, when administration does their job, when principals do their job and do what they're supposed to do and come at things from a professional angle and talking about what's best for children, in my experience, PSEA and their local affiliates will support what the school's trying to do. They'll make you jump through all the hoops.
Absolutely.
They're there to see that you jump through all the hoops.
Exactly.
Right. So they're there. That's their job, but they will not, they will not turn a blind eye to somebody that all of the evidence points to this person is hurting children. They will not do that.
And since you mentioned PSEA, let's give a big shout out to my close personal friend, the vice president of PSEA, Jerry Alexiak. Taught in Upper Marion with Jerry.
Oh yeah,
we go way back. We are, you know what? We should have Jerry on the podcast.
Really?
He is hilarious.
We should work on that.
There's some good stories.
We should work on that.
I don't know if Big O, what we would call him. I don't know if he has a Twitter account or a Twitter handle, but
we'll have to look that up.
Yeah, we could definitely get him on. That would be exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
That's it for that segment. So we'll be right back for more of the Rockstar Principals podcast.
Hey.
And now a word from our fake sponsors. But we'd really love if they were our real sponsors. Seriously, we would love it.
This past week, the Rockstar Principals took to Twitter and offered an amazing opportunity for free advertising on the Rockstar Principals podcast to the first person who could tweet us the request. Now, without further ado, here is your winner.
Have you ever wanted to be paperless but thought it was impossible in a school? Now's the time to take control of your school. In the book, Paperless Principal, you will learn how it is finally possible to be paperless in your work and home life. It just takes a little effort to get started, and once you do, the possibilities are endless. In this book, you will learn how to 1. Deal with every single document you get by walking through a paperless workflow. 2. Use the right tools for what you need. 3. Develop a system that works for you. 4. Use specific pieces of software to make your technology work for you. And 5. Create workflows step by step so that it is easy for you to repeat it later. This book by Jethro Jones, once again called The Paperless Principal. Pick it up. Available on the iTunes bookstore, as a matter of fact, on the iBookstore. Jethro Jones, whose Twitter handle is @JethroJones, just as it sounds. You'll find him on Twitter. He's an assistant principal at the Copperview Elementary School in the Canyons School District in Utah. And you can find out more information about his book at paperlessprincipal.com. So there you have it, our first free advertisement from one of our Twitter followers. Might be a good segment for us to do more often, Nick.
I think so. And wait a minute, you said the iTunes store, right? You can find the book Paperless Principal?
Yes.
While you're there, hey, why not subscribe to the Rockstar Principals podcast if you're not already?
Yeah, I was going to say, if they're listening when they already, well, not necessarily subscribe. That's true.
Yeah, because we need people to rate us and whatnot too.
That's right.
Get on there. In all seriousness, this is fascinating because if you follow David Allen, the whole idea of workflow and that idea of clearing the in-basket, getting rid of the repetitive loops in your head, the getting things done. They call it the GTD framework. And the programs that exist to help you do that, like OmniFocus, that can touch into the Outlook. Here is a principal, someone who does the job that we do, who has developed his own system. So it's going to be tailor-made and laser-focused for your workplace. I'm really excited to check it out.
Yeah, and there's some other things on his website, on paperlessprincipal.com. He's got a few other blog posts, just the trouble with 1080p video recording on an iPad, how to resize Instagram photos to print 4x6 prints. I actually want to check that one out. That's a good idea because you get some pretty good pictures on Instagram. Yeah. It'd be nice to be able to print those out on regular size prints. So check out his website. All right, Jethro Jones, and his website, once again, paperlessprincipal.com.
Maybe he'll invite us to Utah.
That'd be awesome.
Don, I have a dream. Yeah? That one day we will live in a world where there are 0 suspensions.
Yeah, that's a heck of a dream. Yeah, well, welcome back to the Rockstar Principals podcast. We're going to do a segment here on a recent article that we discovered both in Ed Week and also in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. It's an article about the schools in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they are considering alternatives to the idea of suspension. Oh, no. Yes, actually they are, gasping voice, considering those ideas. Their motivation.
Don't tell me, John. Did they look at the data and actually consider changes about their data?
Maybe. They might have. Could have been.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, let me tell you, Nick. As I was saying, their motivation is they're trying to address the gap in terms of race between the students that are suspended. That they're seeing, as I think is the trend nationwide, that larger numbers of the different minority groups of students are suspended as compared to the Caucasian group. So their their idea to address that is to use restorative conversations as a part of what they're doing. And we've mentioned a couple of times, I think, in our podcast that we were recently trained in restorative practices at both of our middle schools in our school district. We're very fortunate that the International Center for Restorative Practices, we'll have to hit them up on Twitter. I know we follow them.
IIRP.
Yeah. Is it IIRP?
IIRP.
2 I's. At IIRP. I forget what the second I stands for, but it's the International
Institute
of Restorative Practices. There you go. Thanks, brother.
I'll pull up the rest of it.
But Restorative Practice is just a phenomenal, phenomenal program. And our motivation is not to reduce suspension and discipline in our school. The reason we're using it and we're talking about it is to work on school culture and about giving students ownership in their discipline when they're in those situations. But enough about us. We're talking about the Minneapolis schools.
At IIRP Grad School.
There you go. So hit them up on Twitter. We know we've talked to them a number of times. We've mentioned them before.
And their main webpage, John, just if you Google IIRP, that's the first hit that's going to come up for you. On their front page, it's a brilliantly short and succinct description of restorative practices. But continue.
Okay. So the data in Minneapolis now, we're just talking about, their district data shows that suspensions start, I can't believe this just blows me away, but that just last year alone, they had 50 kindergartners suspended in the Minneapolis school district. 50 kindergartners suspended. But that they peak in the, surprisingly enough, gasp again, middle school years before ebbing somewhat in high school. But that their black students were suspended at a rate more than 5 times that of white students. Just think about that. 5 times the rate black students are suspended as compared to white students.
And American Indians, I believe, was 4 times as much.
4 times, right. And that when they actually are suspended, that the black and American Indian students are barred from school an average of 1 day longer than the Asian, Latino, or white students. So they've had some civil rights attention as a result of that. But even without that, this is certainly a trend that I think anybody would say you need to come up with some kind of alternative. This all, to me, goes back to, again, I've been in administration, been a principal, assistant principal, became an assistant principal in 97, and that was the age of the knee-jerk reaction to Columbine of zero tolerance, and where we had zero tolerance for just about everything, it seemed like. And we're still suffering, I think, in public ed, the ripple effects of that, because that gets thrown back at us a lot, and I tell parents quite frequently, that we don't have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to this or that, because that idea is just completely antiquated. And all that does is drive up your suspension numbers and create more frustration and more difficulty. But I digress once again, that those kinds of rules favor removing students from school as a form of punishment. And that just, again, has ripple effects, not to overuse that phrase, but these ripple effects in terms of the education. Here you have kids getting suspended. Frequently, these are the kids having the most trouble in terms of their education. That's why they're getting frustrated in school and doing things that are causing them to get suspended. And now you're putting them out of school. And just that endless cycle to me. And this is where I don't know, some would say I've gotten soft, maybe. I know some people think, maybe. But I prefer to view it as I've grown as an administrator, in that I reserve suspension for the last possible alternative in just about every case, that I try to find other ways of both serving the student needs discipline, but the student also needs to understand the discipline, and that we need to get kids to be a part of that and to take ownership of that, especially at our level, especially at the middle school level. But I'm just ranting now, Nick. Please jump in here and save me.
So much of the research has proven time and time again that zero tolerance has been ineffective. Not only ineffective, in a lot of cases of the school shootings, one of the factors that are contributors or possibilities are kids who have been suspended without any type of restorative practices taking place, by whatever name you want to call it. And further, parents say it, teachers say it sometimes, we say it a lot. You're giving kids a free couple days off. Now, parents can make that miserable, but let's see. we're going to quote unquote punish you by not making you come to school.
Right. The hilarious example that I go back to, and I know this is just a snapshot, but if you think about the whole idea of progressive discipline, right? And you think about the way traditionally schools work, and I worked in a district where if you were frequently absent, unexcused, if you were or frequently late to school, or the word is escaping me. What is it?
Truant.
Truant. Thank you. I just had one of those complete and total blanks. If you're truant from school, that the first time you were truant from school, it would be some after-school detentions. And that if you were truant again, then it would be a couple more after-school detentions. But eventually, if you are truant enough, you get suspended.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Like you're taking a kid who's purposely missing school and you're suspending him. Like that's like saying to an alcoholic, here, have another drink. Like, it just makes no sense to me.
Well, let's use
that's the solution. That's the end game for kids in that situation.
Let's lose the alcohol. Use that example for just a minute. And I know we're talking about something there that is an actual disease, but let's look at repeat offenders with serious behaviors. Lots of times, those kids are going to be identified. Now, it's not a disease per se, but it might be a disability, or it might be social factors, nature versus nurture factors, home life, socioeconomic status, whatever it is that has contributed, but we have issues that now exist. Whether we like it or not, whether that's what our charge as public educators are supposed to be, we have to provide an education to this child. If the only way we can provide an education is to get past whatever the socio-emotional, whatever the factors are, to actually improve academic and school-appropriate behaviors, then we're not going to do that by punishing them.
Right.
Find me an effective parent today that just uses flat-out punishment when their children misbehave. That there's not an actual processing that's taking place. Right. That there's not actual discussion of, hey, better choices. The Carol Dweck and the whole mindset, everything we've talked about with that over and over again. The fact that we still live in a school world, where there are administrators and there are teachers who believe in one-size-fits-all discipline. Right. What do you call it? You have a name for it.
Shotgun discipline.
Shotgun discipline. Is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Is mind-blowing to me.
And let me say something, too, before anybody knows us or anybody's Google searching, these guys work in Downingtown. Yes, we have an amazing school district. We have very few discipline problems. But both Nick and I have worked in schools that had a higher rate of discipline situations than what we have now. So, don't think for a second that we're operating in a situation now, because we're operating in a situation now that is different than what we've been in before, that would mean that we don't know what we're talking about, because trust me, we do. But what was I going to say? About the whole reason for suspension. And my experience tells me the people that advocate for suspension, they've been hurt, so they want to hurt someone else. Mm-hmm. That's the way I view it. And again, getting back to the whole conversation of, don't take it personally. It's a profession, or, that we've said several times. People are somehow, teachers or families, other kids, they've been hurt. They want this kid hurt too. And the way they see to hurt him is to suspend him. And what I say to the people that are in that camp, and again, I'm not talking about, the obvious, the highest level of violation, kid punches a teacher, a kid brings weapon to school.
Sure.
I'm talking about the degrees lower than that. What I say to folks like that is, this kid's been suspended in the past for this kind of behavior, and yet he's still doing it. Like, what does that tell you? What's the definition of insanity?
Yep, absolutely.
Continuing a behavior that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're banging our heads against the wall here, trying to get this kid to change, and we think eventually it's going to kick in. And you know why we think that? Here's why we think that. Because when we were kids, if we had been suspended for doing something wrong, we would have changed, and we never would have been suspended again. Whether it's because, my dad would have kicked my ass, my dad would have, I would have been dead meat if I had been suspended, or I just took it to heart, the whole idea of being suspended, whatever the reason may have been. We put I'm really getting fired up about this, but I really strongly believe
you're
this.
right.
We put ourselves in the place of kids.
We project it.
And exactly. And we say, oh, if I had been suspended, or if I had done something like that when I was, well, guess what? You weren't in this situation. There's a reason why you are where you are now.
Yes.
And this kid is where he or she is now. Because they're not you. They're different. And when we've suspended the kid in the past and the kid comes back and does the behavior again, guess what? Suspension doesn't work. So you got to try something else. And that doesn't mean suspension's off the table forever, but that can't be the first thing you pull out of the holster and go to every time the kid steps out of line.
A lot of times those are the same people, and this is one of the things I enjoy as well, who don't believe in therapy.
Right.
Oh, what is that going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the basis for modern therapy right now is cognitive behavioral therapy. Guess what we do in schools to change behavior? We use different forms of cognitive behavioral therapy. Mm-hmm. And guess what? It works.
Right.
There's research to support that it works. To me, what gets me fired up is when you put the facts in front of someone and you can prove it, and they still don't believe it because of exactly what you're saying. Because for me, that I didn't need that. I got the message after the first time.
Right.
Or how about this one? Suspension sends such a strong message to all the other students.
Yeah.
The other students aren't doing it.
The other students don't need the message.
Yes.
Right.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. If that were in fact the case, if you handled discipline that way and you did restorative conversations, you did some kind of restorative stuff in place of a suspension. Now, those things can work together too. You can do a restorative conference and also suspend the kid,
sure,
and also detention or whatever. But let's say you have a situation where it works out that rather than suspend a kid, you do a restorative conference. You allow the victim to confront the person that offended them or hurt them. That's the whole idea. Blah blah blah. All right. So let's say you go through that process and you do it. If those people were right, then you would have the next day in school, every single kid in the school would be committing the offense that the other kid did because they would be saying, "Oh well, I'm not going to get suspended, so I might as well do that."
Yep.
That doesn't happen.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. People that are not going to commit offenses are not going to do it.
Yes.
They're not. Whatever the reason, the reason is not, I'm not going to do that because I would get suspended. They have other reasons why they don't do it. That's not the reason why.
I had one of those blow up in my face last week. It was a quick funny story. So I had a bus ride up on a kid who the driver didn't hear it, didn't witness it, was heard from another kid that this kid was bullying another girl. And of course, the term bullying gets thrown around.
Yeah,
like
yeah, right. That's a whole nother segment.
So I call this kid down. The kid's never been in trouble before. It's a boy. And he was seemed pretty legit, pretty honest, copped to most of the stuff, being mean to this girl. He said, but she annoys me too. She says she calls me a jerk, and I didn't do this part. And he seemed genuine. I kind of believed him. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call the counselor real quick, see if she knows anything, if there's any backstory. So, I don't step on any landmines with this one. Couldn't get a hold of the counselor, but I'm like, I got this. So I'm going to call the girl down and I'm going to do a little restorative conference to pull it off. So I get the girl down. I kind of set the table and I say, he's explained all the things, he's done and he's owned most of them. But he says sometimes you kind of instigate things a little bit, call him a jerk every once in a while. Is there anything you can do to kind of improve things? He looks at me and goes, no, I've never called him a jerk. I look at him, he looks at me and he's like, nah, I was lying. I'm like, seriously?
You let me go this far?
Like, I took it this far. And so he just basically copped everything at that point. And I'm like, well, can we put this one behind us?
Well, and again, not that I'm against discipline altogether, because I certainly am not. But here's another one. The last thing I'm going to say about this, and people are probably going to disagree, but this is just in my opinion. If you are into, let me really discipline a kid and into a way that's really going to affect that kid at their core, to me, the punishment, let's talk about the punishment, suspension, detention, whatever that you can give out that's going to hit the kid the hardest, in my opinion, lunch detention. Oh, and it sounds like the lowest level.
Yep.
It sounds like it's the easiest, lowest level thing you can give a kid. But man, you take away their lunch and you put them somewhere for lunch detention, especially if they're isolated away from everybody else.
Absolutely.
That, to me,
Nothing
just
worse.
really hits kids where it counts when you're doing that.
Social
and
time.
It is.
Period of the day.
It is. And it's, again, if you look at the chain of discipline, that's like the first thing you do. You know what I mean? The lowest level punishment is a lunch detention, but that really hits them where it counts. So, in my opinion, this is great that Minneapolis is looking at this, is considering it, that they're even going to do it to try to address this rate. You can't deny this data that they have this gap, and the fact that they're trying to do something, that they're showing that they recognize that this gap exists and they're trying to do something, I think is commendable, and I think it's great. So that's my 2 cents, although you probably got about $1.02 worth out of it.
Kudos to Minnesota.
Minneapolis, not the whole state.
That's true. That is true. Hey, just out of curiosity, who used to be the governor of Minnesota a few years back?
You might be talking about Jesse the Body Ventura.
Former professional wrestler.
Yeah, what is he now though? He's a little bit of a
what if he's right?
Conspiracy theory guy.
He's got a TV show actually called Conspiracy Theory. Yeah. He's I mean he's definitely out there a little bit. Although he did have and of course rule number 1 that I'm about to break: don't talk politics in a podcast.
Yeah, here we go.
He actually, a quote that I enjoyed when they asked him about, do you feel that Obama has, has failed on his promise of change?
Yeah.
And Jesse Ventura, who obviously is an independent, so you're gonna.
I'm so afraid what you're about to say because
no,
I heard this.
This is why I like the quote so much. He said, "Anyone currently, as a member of the two-party system, Republican or Democrat, can't promise change because they can't deliver true change."
Well, that's hard to argue.
Hard
and he's also the owner of perhaps one of the greatest movie quotes of all time, from Predator.
Go ahead.
Where the guy comes up to him after he's been shot and he says, "You're bleeding." And what does Jesse say?
Nah, that's you. You did it. Take it.
"I haven't got time to bleed." I remember seeing that. I was like, yes!
Also, Jesse Ventura carries the Vulcan machine gun.
Yes,
movie.
he does, which I don't know if is that possible for someone to actually carry that for that length of time?
I
remember thinking as a kid, that gun's got to be heavy for the amount of time he carries that in that movie.
And firing it on top of that, from a base position.
Yeah.
The other great professional wrestling quote from a totally different movie, Roddy Piper, in They Live.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one, too.
There's actually quite a few good quotes in that, but it's
a terrible movie, but he's got some great quotes in that movie.
I came here to do 2 things.
Yep.
Kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And there you go. We'll end it on that. We'll be right back with more of the Rockstar Principles podcast.
And now a word from our fake sponsors. But we'd really love if they were our real sponsors. Seriously, we would love it.
Geez, John. Do you ever feel so lonely that there's no one to talk to? No one who understands you? Or you go home at the end of a long workday and your wife and your kids want to talk about your day, but you just don't feel like it because they don't understand what it's like and they can't really relate to it?
Well, as a matter of fact, Nick, I used to feel that way a lot. But that's happening less and less now that I've started getting on a bunch of those Twitter chats that we're so fond of. If only there were a Twitter chat that were geared specifically for the principles.
You mean a chat dedicated solely to principles on topics that relate directly to principles?
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
If only there was an organization who wanted to get behind that idea with the Rockstar Principles to make it a reality.
You mean like the Pennsylvania Association of Elementary and Secondary School Principals?
That's exactly what I mean.
Led by Dr. Bill Ziegler, who you can find at Dr. Bill Ziegler on Twitter.
You mean Ziegler Ziegler?
And the doctor is just Dr.
Just Dr.
Dr. Bill
no
Ziegler.
Period.
No. Dr. Bill Ziegler. Well, not spelled out Dr. D-O-C-T.
Dr.
I'm sorry, I digress. Yes. Dr. Bill Ziegler, the president of the Pennsylvania Association of Elementary and Secondary School Principals, has approached the Rockstar Principals to do a joint effort and begin a Twitter chat geared just for principals, not just for Pennsylvania principals, but principals all over the world, and actually anybody that's interested in the work of the principalship. So if you're an aspiring leader,
absolutely,
if you're somebody who's a teacher, who's an aspiring administrator, or maybe if you're a superintendent who wants to, get in on the chats that are going on in the lives of principals. But not that we don't enjoy all of the other chats that go on all around, which we do. We get so much from our PLN and everything that they offer and that we hear from in all of those chats. We really wanted to start a chat that was just geared toward the principalship. So all of our topics are going to be focused from the principal lens, and we're going to try to give you guys, our fellow principals or aspiring principals, a voice and give you an opportunity to really speak from the principal's perspective.
And we want to get everyone in the country and the world to join us, because right now we know the Rockstar Principals podcast is hitting 48 states. It's hitting 30 plus countries. We want all of you to join us on Twitter during this chat to lend a voice for a global communication.
I thought you were going to say domination for a second there.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. I think our first one we might not want to go for
domination.
Global domination at the Spectrum.
No one outside the Philadelphia area got this Spectrum
No, that's
reference,
okay.
but that's all right.
Why don't you tell them, John?
First
Tell
one's
them.
going to be January the 9th. I think we're going to shoot for Thursday nights.
Yep, Thursday nights.
Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Thursday nights at 8. I think we chose Thursdays because we decided that most school board meetings are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Yep.
So we thought maybe most leaders, as much as maybe some of us would like to do Twitter chats during school board meetings, that would be inappropriate, and we're not going to do that. So our first one's going to be on January the 9th. No, you read comic books during school board meetings.
Yeah, I do.
January the 9th at 8 p.m. So mark that down on your calendars. We hope you can join us. And things go well, we'll try and shoot for every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Okay?
And since it's early right now...
Oh, we got to make sure we mention the hashtag, too. I'm sorry.
And that's not as big of a deal at this point. But yeah, we want to give it to them. We're gonna try to make this an event, so we're not going to give you the topics yet. We're going to save that till we get a little bit closer. And we might have some cool prizes and stuff as well, but we're going to get as we get closer. But anyway, give them the hashtag.
Prizes for us?
Well, I'm hoping we get something out of it. We're going to get... educated.
There you go. And we're also world domination too. That's later, but don't leave that part out.
We'll get that.
Okay, so the hashtag for the Twitter chat on January 9th at 8 p.m. is going to be hashtag PAESSP chat. PAESSP chat. And again, we wanted to include that because we wanted to give props to the Pennsylvania Association of Elementary and Secondary School Principals. They're the force behind this. Dr. Bill Ziegler has really been supportive of the Rockstar Principals ever since we talked to him the first time about it back at the conference back in October. He's really been pumping us up and giving us a lot of support. So we're really looking forward to starting this. So hopefully you can join us on January the 9th at 8 p.m. That's Eastern time, by the way. 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the hashtag, once again, hashtag PAESSP chat. Awkward silence. All right, welcome back to the Rockstar Principals podcast. We have a very special segment we're going to be doing right now. And matter of fact, Nick has no idea what we're doing right now and laying out our plan for tonight. I just told him that I needed an opportunity for a surprise segment, and he's being very trusting, not asking any questions whatsoever.
Nope.
Okay, good. It's the kind of partnership that we have. Although we usually lay things out very specifically in what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be kind of shooting from the hip here for a moment. A couple of weeks ago on Black Friday, I went shopping actually on Thanksgiving night, which I know to a lot of people is sacrilege, but we had a special thing that we were going out to look for. And while we were out on Thanksgiving night, I saw something that was on special that I knew that my friend here would appreciate. And if my calculations are correct, Nick has a birthday coming up this week.
Yeah, that's true. I do.
Okay. Well, we're going to do, it's kind of a visual, so you might lose it for the podcast, but I thought this might be a good segment to do on the podcast anyway, and allow Nick to describe the action as we're going along. But I'm going to ask my daughter, Elli, if she could please, to grab the surprise and bring it into the room here to present it to Dr. Nick in honor of his birthday.
Wow.
Something very, very special that we saw, and as soon as we saw it, we knew we had to get for Nick for his birthday. So without further ado, Dr. Nick.
For those of you listening, it is a very nicely wrapped rectangular box, about 3 feet high. Looks somewhat like, good Lord, I don't even know.
No guesses? No guesses whatsoever what could be in there? Describe the wrapping paper, by the way.
It's I'll post a picture on Twitter. We'll put it up there. It's dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's brontosaurus wrapping paper with multicolored polka dots, and many gifts on top of it. One can only wonder. It's not heavy enough to be a full-fledged crossbow.
No, it is not. You think I'd be giving that to you?
our dream of
no, we'd be sharing that. Yeah, we're gonna be sharing the crossbow when we get that.
I gotta think it's probably something Walking Dead related. It's all I can think of.
I'm not giving no tells. I'm not giving anything away. No clues.
So here we go.
Just dig right in.
Do you like to help, Ellie, or are you more of a like to watch?
I like to watch.
All right. Okay. Wow, a present. Oh, I know exactly what it is now. Yes. Wow. Oh boy, I got a funny story about this too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are standing at the 31-inch Man of Steel action figure character. It's Henry Cavill from the Man of Steel movie this summer. I don't even know what else to say. Other than awesome.
the description here as I'm moving around. What's it say right here?
7 points of articulation.
That was the selling point, that the Man of Steel action figure has 7 points of articulation. So we at some point are going to have to count the 7, because I was trying to figure it out by looking at him.
His hands?
I think I have an idea. Yeah, his hands, his elbows, and his shoulders.
His head?
And his head.
So that's 1, 2. Do the hands count as 2 or 1? I guess they count
that's
as
a good
2.
question.
I think
Maybe.
Well, okay, 1, 2. Head is 3. Arms at the shoulders is 4.
Did the elbows move? Because then the legs got to move too.
Got to figure the legs.
The legs are 6. Yeah. All right, we'll have to crack that open at some point. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, my friends, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, like I said, we saw it and we knew right away that had to be ours, and we saved it for your upcoming birthday.
Well, can I tell you the funny story about this now?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's podcast appropriate.
It is podcast appropriate and Ellie appropriate as well.
Okay, good.
If you can envision a super Walmart where John and I live in Douglasville area, you head down to Exeter and there's a super Walmart that pretty much has everything and anything. So when the movie came out this summer, in the center aisle of the store, like the main aisle, you actually had a huge Man of Steel display. So they had capes and they had all kinds of the toys and action figures from the movie. And they had a stack of these lining the aisle. So initially I gave Denise the look of kind of like, hey, what are you thinking here? And I got the immediate eyeball glare shoot down. So then I decided, well, I'm not going to win that way, and this thing is huge. So to be funny, like every other time we'd go to Walmart, if she turned around or like turned her back, I would put it in the cart and
the same one,
and wait for her to notice
awesome.
it.
She's going to think you told us to get this right.
Well, at first I'm like, did Denise put you up to this? Oh, thank you so much, guys.
Well, I figured if you already had one, you could have one at your home office and your school office. But since you don't, I guess you get to pick. Because either that or right in the middle of the family room, maybe, or in your formal dining room, maybe at your house. Denise will let you put it on the Christmas table for Christmas dinner this year, right in the middle of the table.
I would imagine. My thoughts would be either in the office, obviously, or make it like Elf on the Shelf and have him be somewhere different.
On the shelf.
Superman. The Superman.
Well, all he needs is a little hat. Get him a little Santa Claus hat.
I mean, these things would definitely fit him.
Yeah. Okay.
He's so buff.
Well, that's it for this segment. A little different from the usual, but a segment nonetheless, and it counts.
We got Ellie here. Do you want to shoot Ellie in for a second or two?
Ellie, you got anything you want to add?
Nope.
How's school going?
Fine.
Just fine?
Yeah.
That's all you got to say? What are you doing right now? Let me guess. Watching Doctor Who upstairs?
Yeah.
Yes. My 8-year-old daughter is what do you call somebody that's like addicted to Doctor Who? Is there a word for it?
No, not really.
There's not like a Whovian or a Who-maniac?
No.
No,
gotta
none
be
of those
something.
things.
Ask Natalie.
Ask Natalie. Okay, I'll have to ask her sister. She's definitely the Doctor Who expert in the
in the house.
family.
So,
Okay.
Ellie, what's the? Well, I guess before we wrap this one up, since you just gave me an amazing birthday present, what are you going to get your teacher a present at school for the holidays?
Yeah, I'm getting her a Starbucks gift card.
Starbucks gift card.
go
Hopefully she
wrong.
doesn't listen to our podcast. I don't want to spoil it.
We could always hold off a little bit if we wanted to.
No, that's all right. I don't think she
Okay.
listens.
Tell
But that's
her
a
to
great
listen.
gift. That's a
Why
great
is she not
teacher
listening
gift.
to the podcast?
It's a great teacher gift.
funny.
Can't miss with
I
the
don't think-
Starbucks
you
gift
can't
card.
go wrong with a Starbucks
Absolutely.
gift card.
Right. And then what's the big gift from Santa you're looking for this year, Ellie? Anything in particular? Anything? I mean, Santa might listen to our podcast. Anything you want to make sure he hears? No?
Nothing that I really want.
Oh, okay. Ellie's not. It doesn't ask for much, right? Peace on earth, happiness in our household. That's all.
World peace.
World peace. Yeah, that's all.
So we in our Santa visit today, Tootie got scared right before she had to go in Santa's lap, so I had to sit with her. Meanwhile, Bella was brave and was great, but then Santa actually asked her, what do you want for Christmas? As all the craziness with Talia was going on. Bella looked at him and said, "A sled." She's wanted 1,000 things since last Christmas.
Yeah, right.
A sled has never come up. In fact, she's afraid to go down the hill on the sled.
But she wants one anyway.
But now she wants a sled. Yeah.
I'm sure she has her reasons. Don't question it.
I
Don't question it.
Then
Santa will come through.
As we left Santa's lap, then Tootie is upset and starts crying because she didn't get to tell
That's
Santa
what always
she
happens.
wanted.
That's what always happens.
So I said, "Well, tell me what did you want to tell Santa?" And then we'll write him a letter or send an email or do whatever. She goes, I wanted to ask him to get Bella a Lady and the Tramp toy."
Oh, see,
Like, oh,
that's nice.
you
Looking
didn't
out
want
for
to
her
ask her
sister.
something for yourself.
Is this going to be our Christmas episode, by the way? Our holiday
Our holiday
episode?
themed episode?
Our holiday episode?
Depending on how much time we
Yeah,
have.
that's
we
true.
got a 2-week break. We could have multiple holiday episodes.
That's true. That's true. We could, cover all the holidays, as a
Mhm.
matter of fact.
All the
to
cool
make sure
gifts.
we do that.
Maybe one
All right.
episode we can rainbow loom as we're...
No, that's not going to happen.
No.
That's not going to happen.
You don't
Let's
think-
wrap it up.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back with more of the Rockstar Principles podcast. Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks for helping RSP top the charts in the Edu podcast world. Keep it real with Twisted Steel and School Appeal.